When people talk about the Medellin cartel, one name eclipses the rest: Pablo Escobar. But behind him, in the shadows, worked a key man, a strategic, cautious mind that made the white powder empire possible: Gustavo Gaviria. Unlike his charismatic cousin Pablo, Gustavo Gaviria kept a very low profile. He preferred not to draw attention or be known in the neighborhoods and avoided dealing with celebrities. He didn't need anyone to know him. His real power was in numbers. He was the cartel's financial architect with an exceptional skill for multiplying money. For some, the true brain of the empire and the richest boss of them all, even above Escobar. He was very smart with numbers, but not so much with a gun. He was born in Pereira, but grew up in Envigado, Medellin, 3 years older than his cousin Pablo, and from a young age, they shared overflowing ambition and a natural talent for easy money, regardless of the methods. People say they robbed banks, movie theater box offices, stores, and cars. They also stole marble tombstones to re-engrave and resell them as new. They kidnapped people and collected ransom. At first, they worked for a smuggling boss in Medellin, who dealt in appliances and cigarettes. Over time, they became interested in the too profitable business echoing through the underworld: white powder. A kilo that cost $600 to produce could sell for up to $50,000 in the United States. A crazy business, exactly what they were looking for. The cousins understood it instantly and soon set a plan in motion. In a modest Renault, Pablo and Gustavo headed into the Andes, determined to find the raw material for their business.
Y un día Pablo llegó con una chaqueta de cuero y le dijo a mi mamá que si le ponía unos bolsillos dentro de la chaqueta y que pues necesitaba asegurar su platica. Era para camuflar la coca y para camuflar los billeticos que iban a llevar para comprar la coca en el Perú.
Back in Medellin, it's said their first clients were the influential Ochoa brothers, who later joined the Medellin cartel. Later, Pablo and Gustavo decided to process the paste and take the product to North America themselves. There, Griselda Blanco was the first to receive their merchandise, marking the start of the empire. In 1976, their plan fell apart for the first time. They were captured with 39 pounds of cocaine hidden in the spare tire of one of their trucks. They were with Mario Henao Vallejo, Escobar's brother-in-law, and 3 other men. They were held for 3 months and then released. The rest is history. From then on, they controlled about 80% of the world's cocaine, transporting it, producing it, and distributing it. Gustavo Gaviria helped design and perfect the international routes for cocaine transport and worked day and night with Pablo. But when Escobar decided to enter politics, all the work fell into Gustavo's hands. Gustavo took care of the cartel's finances and logistics. Pablo handled political moves and social projects, and when necessary, war and terrorism. That was where Gustavo first disagreed with his cousin. People close to them say Gaviria did not share the same taste for violence, and often argued with Escobar about his bloody strategy, which ended up hastening the fall of the Medellin cartel. "You don't need war to win," Gustavo told him. He was the voice of moderation in an empire that knew no limits. Gustavo Gaviria was far richer than Pablo, an absolute millionaire. He invested his fortune in diamonds and traded large quantities of gemstones. He also invested in artworks and high-end properties in Medellin. He placed money in Switzerland and kept enormous sums there, and in other international banks. A cocaine businessman, Gustavo Gaviria cultivated refined tastes that contrasted with how he made his living and the world he moved in. He was also a passionate wine connoisseur, a high-speed race car driver, and a lover of reading and art. Always with a cigarette between his fingers, he found one of his greatest pleasures in travel. When he wasn't being pursued, he flew constantly on his planes and loved going to Europe. In these photos, he is seen walking through the streets of Luxembourg and admiring the pyramids of Egypt. He loved expensive things and had more than enough money to enjoy them. He visited banks around the world, parking his money. Although Hacienda Nápoles is known worldwide as a symbol of Pablo Escobar's power, the truth is, it didn't belong only to him. The cousins shared everything, and Gustavo Gaviria owned 50% of that luxurious property. Gustavo's discretion was absolute in his richest years. He operated through coded calls with aliases and codes. No one knew his phone number, and he always carried fake IDs and passports. That obsession with privacy allowed him to keep such a low profile that there are barely any wiretaps, photos, or videos of him. The invisible man behind the largest drug trafficking empire in the world. Gustavo was not known for warmth. He kept people at a distance. Unlike Pablo, who treated everyone like family, he preferred formality. Even so, he knew how to be proper and respectful with everyone. Some stories say Don Gustavo had a reputation for being stingy with money, while Pablo was more generous. He watched every peso to protect the organization. He also had a phase as a race car driver. In the late 1970s, he competed in events like the Renault Cup at the Tocancipá circuit in Bogotá. His car carried the number 71 and was sponsored by Depósitos Cundinamarca. His cousin Pablo, who shared the same passion, drove number 70 and was sponsored by Bicicletas Ocido. They shared and enjoyed the sport a lot until Gustavo left before Pablo. According to the official account of Gustavo's death, shared by Colombian media, Gaviria was located by an anonymous informant in the Laureles neighborhood of Medellin. There he had a house that looked like a fortress, with thick walls, bullet-resistant glass, and security cameras. When plainclothes police arrived, they blew the door open to get in, triggering a firefight. It's said that Gustavo, believing they were his mafia enemies, decided to defend himself to the end. He was alone with his wife and a maid. In the middle of the shootout, Gaviria lost his life. It's said that Pablo Escobar's decline begins when he loses his cousin. His decisions became less and less balanced. He surrounded himself with very young people who did not dare contradict him on anything. There is no plan, no strategy, no coherence, and above all, no money. And the coherence and the money were what Gustavo Gaviria provided. He brought pause, perspective, and reason. But Pablo laughed. The patron did not pay attention to money. The one who truly held the Medellin cartel together was Gustavo Gaviria Rivero. Because in a war, if there is no money, there is nothing. No matter how many warriors there are, you need a lot of money to pay for it. He has been credited with having a fortune greater than his cousins, since he invested in art, luxury items, and bank accounts in tax havens, and was co-owner of several properties with Escobar, such as Hacienda Nápoles. Nor was he a violent man, despite being part of the Medellin cartel. Although on one occasion, he allegedly threatened a relative with death over a hair implant that went wrong. Gustavo Gaviria was not as well known as his cousin, but his influence was undeniable. Without him, it is possible the Medellin cartel's empire would never have reached what it did. His story reminds us that the most brilliant minds are not always the ones surrounded by cameras and celebrities. Thanks for watching until the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more videos like this. If you enjoy underworld photography with stories to tell, visit our website. You'll find images curated by me that you can have at home as prints or framed pieces. Your purchase supports the channel, and I'm truly grateful. We offer free worldwide shipping right to your door. See you in the next video.